You may have seen that Leica have just announced the new SL2, and I'm hoping to get my hands on it as soon as possible to bring you a full review. But you know what we've never spoken about is the Leica CL, and what better time to have a look at that? It's a lovely APS-C mirrorless camera from Leica. I've been shooting with it for the last couple of days, really just to get to grips with what makes it a good camera. You know, it's a beautiful piece of equipment, much like any Leica camera that you'll hold, it feels lovely. But what makes it a good camera? Let's have a look. So this is an APS-C rangefinder style interchangeable lens mirrorless camera from Leica. It's got the M mount, so there's a nice bit of glass that you can pop on there as well. But one of the biggest things about this camera is it is autofocus rather than manual focus. Now let's just dive right in. There's a lot of really cool spec about this, and a big part of a Leica camera is how it feels, but let's dive right in with image quality. So you've got 24 megapixels, a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor that gives you nice, rich colors, excellent quality, nice and sharp images as well. I really can't emphasize how much I really like the colors coming out of this camera. It just looks very, very nice. Now, that's nothing new from a Leica. I've certainly had that in the past with Leica cameras where they the colors just look really good, but certainly it's nice to see in this camera as well. You've also got 14 stops of dynamic range with your images here, so really quite a lot of room for capturing detail of the shadows, the highlights, and things like that. And I did notice it just straight out of camera. I thought it was actually very noticeable how much kind of dynamic range there was there, but taking the raw files into Lightroom, into Photoshop, and having a play, definitely there's a lot of room there to kind of push and pull and get those details back, which is great. You know, the kind of photography I like to go for tends to be a lot of high contrast stuff, whether that be sunset or whether it be, you know, a landscape where you've got a lot of shadow and then bright sky and stuff like that. So it's great to be able to push and pull that to get a little bit more dynamic range out of your images. Something else which I thought was quite surprising about this camera, it's actually very, very fast. If you want to shoot a continuous shooting mode, you can shoot 10 frames per second. That's with the mechanical or the electronic shutter. That's much faster than I thought it was going to be. And, you know, Leica cameras, I don't necessarily associate with that kind of fast shooting, but that's a pretty decent frame rate to be capturing images. I should also mention this camera's got video as well. So whereas I imagine most people will be looking to use it for stills, for photographs, there is the option to use video. You've got 4K 30 frames a second in there, so pretty decent video specs. And like I say, this is probably more of a stills camera, probably going to be used more in that kind of way. But it's nice to have that in there, it's a bit versatile. But one of the more additions to this camera is the autofocus. So if you want to manual focus, that's no problem at all. You can obviously just go in and do that yourself. But the autofocus is actually really quite good. It's actually pretty quick and really quite accurate as well. You've got 49 autofocus points in there, and it never had any trouble for me differentiating between what I wanted to focus on, whether I was shooting portraits and focusing on my subject and really trying to go for the eye, or whether I was going for a landscape and knowing whether I wanted to focus on the background or the foreground. It was really able to differentiate what I was looking for. Now with the Leica camera, one of the biggest things about it is always going to be the design, you know, the feel of it. It's one of the reasons so many people go for Leica cameras. They just feel great, and they really do. This is no exception. You know, it feels really, really nice to just hold. There's a premium quality kind of feel to the body. It's also a very minimalist design. So you've got realistically the bare number of buttons and dials that you could have on here to actually operate the camera, which I think is a really great choice. It makes the whole design really sleek, really nice, and you're not, you know, constantly looking for the right button. It's really 3 buttons on the back. You've got your play, your menu, and your FN button, a little D-pad with a select button as well, and then you've got 2 dials. That's pretty much it. You know, obviously you've got the shutter as well, but otherwise that's basically it. I think that's a really nice design, and I've got to say it controls really well. It's really easy to navigate your way around this camera. Obviously aperture, shutter speed, they're on the dials, and then of course ISO, you just literally just press the button on the dial and then turn, or you can change that to white balance, you can change that to different things. Really, really straightforward, but it's something that it seems like a small thing, but it makes shooting with this camera such a pleasant experience and such a just nice way of going about it. Now the screen on the back is a touchscreen, it looks great, and having that ability to use it as a touchscreen really helps with the operation of it. But you've also got the EVF, which I think looks great. I think it looks really, really nice. It's a 2.36 megapixel EVF, it's bright, it's clear, it's very, very smooth as well. Really quite an impressive EVF, which I know, again, doesn't sound like a big thing, but it makes it easier to compose your shots. It makes it easier to get the colors and things like that, because having a better EVF, I think, at least for me, helps me to compose my shots better. The camera itself is pretty small, it's pretty compact. You could definitely take this like as a travel camera. Street photography is obviously a big thing for this kind of camera. This would be perfect for that kind of thing. Nice and discreet, but you're getting those really high quality shots. This feels as you'd expect from a Leica camera, you know, premium quality in the body, premium quality in the images, just a really all-round lovely piece of kit. Now, if you have any questions about the camera at all, pop them down in the comments. This camera's been out for a while, so if you have any experience using it yourself, pop them down there as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts about anything like that. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe as well for more content all the time. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.